and welcome to Cosmere Conundrum. I'm your host, Nemo,
And I'm Roman.
and today we are going to talk about chapter 4 and 5 of Mistborn, The Well of Ascension. Yes, I got that.
Congratulations, you got there eventually.
Yes.
So,
So,
not the most exciting chapters in the world.
things happen, more or less.
We get a bit of progress. We get a bit of development between the relationship of Vin and Ellen's, except it's not in a way I like.
Yeah, we'll talk about it when we get there, but yeah, there are things that both of us have agreed upon that it could have been written better.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, let's begin with one of our favorite people in this cast of characters.
Yeah,
Says
it's back, and he's buggered off to the Eastern Dominance.
Yeah, he did say last time that he's going off to meet the other keepers. So
Yeah,
that
I
he's
do
out
want to
now.
point out that. Yeah, I do want to point out, because of this world's weird orientation of where the dominants are, this is the southeast of the Empire.
Yes.
Which explains the temperature a bit more.
Yeah. So we begin with Caesar sort of inspecting the corpse of a villager far in the eastern dominance, as we mentioned. The villager apparently was standing a minute and then fell and died the next with no one around him, which is weird. And Caesar noticed that.
Yeah, it's like, okay, there are diseases that could cause this, but there's one additional thing.
Yeah, that's when Caesar asks one of the other villagers, Theo, who tells him that Jed, the dead guy, Jed the dead, was working in the field alone. And then
no, you are not calling him Jed the dead.
Jed.
You're calling him dead. You're calling him dead Jed.
Yes. Anyway,
but also I will point out I did not, because I was listening to it. I could barely really figure out what the guy's name was. The Theo Tur. Now that I'm reading it, no, that's Tur. I'm going full Dutch with that name. That's Tur.
That makes sense.
Which so he's basically called he's Dur with a T, so he's door.
Anyway, yeah, so he talks to Caesar and he tells that Jed was working alone in the field, and then suddenly mist came out during the day, and it enveloped Jed, and he just fell down, jerked a bit, and then
we're continuing the trend of there's something wrong with the mist.
Yes,
and it's not just it's odd. Something is off.
Yeah, except like we have seen mist sort of help Vin. So this duality between them helping Vin and killing a villager is very...
Which does make sense. But...
Yeah. I mean, Caesar also says that he has experienced mist coming out during the day in the past. So he doesn't think that the villager is exaggerating.
The guy is known for telling tall tales, but this is one. No, I've experienced something similar in recent. Yeah. We don't hear exactly what this similar experience is.
Yeah,
like to mention his own experience. Great. What was that experience? Was it purely just mist coming? Like it does say say his own experience coming several weeks ago, mist during the day, but like it's still mist.
Yeah.
I doubt in the 1,000 years of the Final Empire that was. The mist never came out during the day ever.
Yeah, I mean, Caesar does say that he's like 40-something years old. So in his lifetime, maybe not, but maybe in some forgotten time.
Yeah. During the day. Yeah, and then what comes next is basically the whole grave digging is more of a reminder of who is Caesar and what is Ferragami.
Yeah, Caesar asks for several digs a grave, which nobody helps at first, but then they do later on. Which is also what
it's another sign of the conditioning of the scar is strong, but it is not absolute.
Yes. Yeah, even like Caesar even wonders that in while digging the grave, like what will happen to these people now that there is a power vacuum, that Lord Ruler is dead, and there is all this chaos and anarchy going around in all the dominance.
Yeah. The unfortunate fact is that the Eastern Dominance is basically just a chaotic realm at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is not surprising. At least one of the dominances was going to fall into pure chaos.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Like we did talk about this even earlier when specifically to Luthadel, that there was a power vacuum, that the god was killed, so you have to give them a new
Yeah.
god.
Yeah,
Similarly,
we also have to take into account. We also have to take into account that a lot of the great houses were killed. We don't know. We only know of where House Venture is from, which is the Northern Dominance. For all we know, some of the great houses that were killed in Luther came from the Eastern Dominance, thereby creating a pure power vacuum that with a lot of minor lords.
yeah, and in the last chapter we did hear about Set, who is one of the kings in the
That's the
Eastern
West. That's the Western
Western
Dominance.
Dominance. Okay, okay, that makes sense.
That's the Western Dominance.
That makes sense. Yeah. So yeah, then people come and help him in the grave, and he does sort of a funerary rite of the Hada, which is weirdly written with small h and capital D, small capital
That
H
is
and capital
pure.
D.
That is a world building thing of
Yeah.
there were different cultures and
Yeah,
languages at one point.
yeah. It's very fantasy of them. Anyway, um, the again the visitor asks Caesar why he planted the branch, which was one of the part of the rewrite, and Caesar begins to talk about rituals and religion,
Yeah.
but the Scar pay him no heed, and
Yeah, no, they are not interested in it, and it's that they literally ask, "When is the Lord Ruler coming back?"
yeah, because to them Lord Ruler is everything, and
Yeah.
as we talked about earlier, religions sort of grow out of their societal needs. And at this point, they don't need these like antiquated beliefs that have not been in like circulation for 1,000 years at this
Mm-hmm.
point. Whatever
Yeah.
they have, either they'll continue those or a new thing will come about, which will be an amalgamation of
Mm-hmm.
the new needs and the previous beliefs and so on. Like, for
Yeah.
example, one of my favorite like instances of this on Earth is the Haitian Vodou religion because
mm,
it came about came about from the amalgamation of Christianity and the Western African religions and beliefs, and it's so diverse. It's like there is no central authority, unlike like Christianity, and you
it's
get
that it is far more akin to the old pagan religions, which is not surprising considering that is what it was partially based on.
yeah, and it's much more about survival and like familial beliefs and stuff
Mm-hmm.
than your large training questions of where we come from and so on. So it's quite interesting. Anyway, that's to
But
say that yeah.
unfortunately, these people are
Mm-hmm.
struggling, and we do learn in this chapter like the only people who are there are the old, the women, and one young person with a club,
Yeah, which even says it wonders how he survived
which
for so long.
which I mean, for all we know, he turned out to be clever.
Probably, yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, says it then obviously says that it is a time for change, and he reflects upon how the keepers stored the knowledge of religion, but nobody seems to need them anymore. And
Yeah.
so he
Well, it's not that they don't
relents
need them anymore.
briefly.
It's like, okay, it's like we spent so much time keeping these religions alive in our heads, and nobody's interested.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, their current condition does not allow them the luxury of uh, thinking about and adopting a new religion at this point.
Yeah, and as we can see, like the Eastern dominance is falling apart.
Yeah, we hear
There
about
might
like
as well not be one anymore.
yeah, we hear about how certain lords sort of aggregated all the money and food and stuff, how there are bandits everywhere and so on. So yeah, it makes sense that it's it's not really like at the forefront of their mind currently. So Caesar relents, and then he asks them to like then he goes to teach them more practical things as chapter
Yeah,
ends.
which just makes sense. And the epigraph is just barely needs a description. It's like, yes, I betrayed Alendi, and he must not be allowed to finish his quest. That's it. That's literally it.
Yeah, which I mean we knew that already, even in the previous book, so makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, so quite a short chapter, but we do get one vital piece of information about the mist and how.
About the mist being odd, especially it's another note of the mist being odd, the mist being out during the day, and it's just a simple real introduction to Sazed.
Yeah, yeah, we do learn quite a bit about like ferrochemy in this chapter, so that's good.
I don't think it doesn't really expand on what we knew from the
No,
previous book.
I think,
but it's more of a thing of it's the typical thing of you do need to repeat it at the beginning of a book.
yeah, I mean, even in the previous set of chapters, we talked about how Allomancy was the entire second chapter was basically the introduction.
We had
of
an
Allomancy.
entire battle scene purely to introduce elements. The only ones that haven't properly been reintroduced are rioting and soothing.
Yeah, and which got introduced obviously probably later on.
And also are just not Vin's favorites.
Yeah, that also makes sense. But yeah, that's chapter 4. Moving on to chapter 5, we start with Vin sort of moving through the city streets and looking upon the state of the residents as more and more Scar are pouring into Luthadel from surrounding regions.
But yeah, it's interesting to know that the city is surrounded now. The gates are closed, so nobody can get in and nobody can get out.
Yeah.
But a lot of people came to Luthadel over the last year, even when a lot of people left, which means the city's population is bursting.
Yeah.
And good God, you better hope they stored up on food.
Yeah, and that's precisely one of the like major points that we are going to see Ellen sort of Ellen and the other assembly members sort of talk about in later chapters probably. Since the economy of Luthadel is so shattered, it's the city cannot really hold so many people at this point. And
the thing is, the fact it's very clear that the fact they only have an army of 20,000 is not to do with a lack of people.
No,
it is economics.
It
is logistics.
Yeah, logistics. You can't really fight with your hands at any point. You need weapons and stuff. Which, if you're surrounded,
and don't forget, and we know that where we ended the last book, the city's garrison was still gone. So they must have dealt with that at some point, which probably will not have helped their soldier numbers.
No.
Because they wouldn't have had the ATM to bribe them.
Most of those who would have returned were probably the soldiers who had families in Luthadel.
Yes.
The ones that didn't.
But the problem with that, the problem is, did they fight?
That is good. Yeah, that is.
Their officers would have wanted to fight for Luthadel.
Yeah, but that really depends of if they are outnumbered by this Scar, and maybe they thought that they can't really attack Luthadel, so they might have resolved that peacefully in the background.
The army might also have devolved, and that might have been a lot of bandits around all of a sudden.
Probably, yeah.
Well-armed bandits.
That makes sense.
But yeah, it's very interesting to see. Like Vin is comparing the market to what it used to be before the collapse, and I like how it didn't take a year for people to start doing typical medieval market strategies.
Yeah, initially they had to cater to nobility, so they might have found these things crude, the criers and like large.
They would have felt crude.
But now that they have to cater to the Scar population, they are employing those advertisement strategies. But makes sense.
But everyone is like trying to get in what they still can.
Yeah, it's they are in a buying frenzy. It's the same thing that happens every time the world goes to shit, even in our world.
2020.
Yes, exactly.
Toilet paper.
Yeah, pretty much. That's the same condition here as well.
Yeah. What I like is she makes a point of like seeing children run away from a baker, they're urchins, and she makes a point of like Ellen would love for there to be no poverty, but at least technically the lives of the urchins have improved because there are more people with money in their pockets.
Yeah, like she thinks about how Ellen has improved the life of even like the street urchins.
But also, Christ Almighty. Philosopher King Ellens.
Yeah, pretty much. Anyway,
Plato would love him.
Yeah. Seems like he is very much inspired by such like philosophies. Makes sense.
Which is literally what he is inspired by.
But yeah. Anyway, Vin is trying to put this air of confidence, but like her internal Scar thief comes out at times and she looks for places to run and hide. But at least she's thankful that in her current getup she's not being noticed much, at least not by the nobility.
But the thing is, she does immediately compare herself to being a noblewoman.
Yes.
She doesn't even she clocks it afterwards. It's like, is that what I am? And yeah, by association, you are absolutely a nobility.
Yeah.
You are Lady Vin of House Vin.
Yeah, we don't really
That
know
is
last
literally how there are a lot of nobility names which are just first names.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in nobility, that's probably what happens. Or if the entire line is by your name. Like, for example, Caesar. Everyone took Caesar's name afterwards. So you can call it House Caesar.
I mean, you mean the fact that Gaius Julius Caesar was succeeded by Gaius Julius Caesar?
Yes. Or Ptolemies. Everyone was Ptolemy.
To be fair, that was just the typical monarchical naming your firstborn after yourself.
Yeah.
Whereas the Roman thing was literally just, no, you get adopted and you just adopt the name.
Yeah. And that's how Caesar came to be, like, in so many different cultures, just became the word for, like, the ruler.
It's just because you called a Roman by a certain one of their names, and in some cases that might have been Gaius. That in Caesar's case, that was Caesar.
Yeah.
Because there were a lot of Julii running around, and a lot of them were named Gaius.
Yeah.
And then you just it became just a title over time as people kept referring to the ruler of the empire as Kaiser.
Kaiser, yeah. And that's where you get, in Russian you get Tsar, or in
yeah, you typically like in something like Imperator Kaiser Augustus.
Yeah.
All of which became titles in some fashion.
Makes sense. But yeah, same thing happens here. Being thinks about whether she's a noble woman or a ska. Thinking about Ellen and her mother and the dichotomy that she's placed in.
This might as well be called Vin's Wikipedia entry.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which, again, these things need to be reintroduced. And we get a few new things. How it's just how like Rain did to grab her as she was covered in blood.
Yeah,
that's a little bit more addition on top of it, but not much. But I do like how Vin's like, wait, am I a noble woman? No, I can't be. I was only pretending to enjoy them.
Yeah, and then she goes on
she says as she
about the balls.
Yeah, she says as she almost goes into a ball gown shop.
Exactly. Which is quite funny. But yeah, she thinks of the balls and how her attendance there was a ruse and how they aren't really needed anymore. And
yeah, which the funny thing being that Ellen literally points out that she was very good.
Yeah. Anyway, she looks at the gown shop and tries to let go of this thought of her being a noble woman, and then she accepts that she's a Mistborn and that not a noble woman. That's basically where we ended last time as well.
Which is basically like, keep telling yourself that, hun.
Pretty much. Then
we get them. Yeah, then finish. I'm going to go to the livestock pens. Which, good news, they clearly brought livestock into the city.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
But someone's tailing her, and I was like, tailing her, a Mistborn. And then we immediately go, well, tailing is a bit of a rich word for it.
Yeah, more like following quite eagerly. Anyway.
Yeah, and the description we got of a like wearing a single piece tent garment, but especially the balding on top with hair on long hair on the side. So that's a proto monk.
Pretty much.
Like that is very evocative of the stereotypical monk outfit. So I was like, religion.
Yeah, and then we learn who they are. They are the priests of the survivor.
Yes, which and then Lady Heir, and I'm just like,
pretty much.
Oh no, poor Vin, because I'm pretty sure at this point I sent you as like, poor Vin.
Yeah, I think even last time you used the word heir. I mean, which is
the thing is, but the thing is, we literally get a thing about Kelsey later on, and the heir, and Ellen in a way is an heir to Kelsey in that Ellen is the heir to Kelsey's political ambitions.
Yeah.
However, the literal heir of the survivor is Vin.
Yeah. But yeah, she gets annoyed by her being called Lady Heir, but again, there are
annoyed is an understatement.
Yeah.
I think she's also gets creeped out by the entire
Yeah.
ID, and it's a fair reminder of that in the epilogue. She literally says it, "Don't tell people I was involved."
And
She didn't
word
ask
got out.
Marsh.
I mean, might have gotten out because she was seen going into the
She was
soldiers.
seen going into
Soldiers.
it. A lot of soldiers saw her go in,
Mhm.
and it's also just like she will have been. She's also always around Ellen in public.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So
Um,
yeah, they will have seen her, and it's like
Yeah.
all they know is that one person ran straight for the throne room
mhm.
and then came out with an inquisitor and a terraceman. Everyone knows terracemen aren't warriors, and everyone's like, an inquisitor cannot have killed the Lord Ruler.
Mhm. Also, I don't think Marsh
So
is in the habit of taking credit, so he
no. Oh, Marsh will very happily have dumped this
Yeah.
on his niece.
yeah. But yeah, one of them asks Vin what to do next, and Vin starts thinking about how Calcia didn't really prepare for anything after the
I mean,
overthrow.
I want to. It gets even better. It's like,
Mhm.
like she's like, I'm not Kelsey. It's like, we know.
Yeah.
You're his heir. And then a woman steps forward,
hmm
wanting Vin to bless her child.
Yeah. And this it's can imagine if you're living and you're not really putting on that facade. Like some people do, obviously, even in our world, some people do put on the facade of being the holier than anyone else. Uh, but Finn is not trying to be that.
But no, but the thing is, she's falling squarely in the role of the reluctant apostle.
Yeah, pretty much.
The savior is dead, martyred,
Yeah.
and now his chosen heir
Mhm.
must eventually lead the people. And of course, there's reluctance in that.
Yeah. I mean, she understands how the Scar feel, but at the same time doesn't really want any attention to herself.
Oh, she hates attention.
Yeah. Um, Another man asks if she will save them, and Vin feels just very overwhelmed. So she just runs away at this point.
Yeah.
Which is
It's very much a thing of, oh, poor Vin.
at this point I really thought remember in one of the last book epigraphs we saw Alendi talking about how his anonymity was lost forever. Same thing happened with
Which
Vin
is then,
here.
admittedly, is then quite funny when his anonymity was secured afterwards anyway.
Yeah. Which is good, yeah.
But yeah, no, it is very interesting to note. Yeah, compare Vin to Alendi. Alendi's name was lost to history. Vin's name is not going to be lost to history. Unless they don't know her name, because they keep only calling her Lady Heir.
Yeah, I mean, names change. So Lady Heir
However,
probably will become her name.
However, that has that might in the future morph into another word.
Yeah.
If everyone keeps calling her Lady Heir, then it might as well be combined into a single name.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the names are always, like most of the time, epithets. You don't really learn about their proper name, especially if they are like mythological beings, which Finn is clearly becoming a mythological being at this point. So,
I mean, we literally call Jesus Christ both Jesus and Christ.
Yeah, which are both epithets. So makes sense.
Well, no, Jesus is his name.
Oh yeah.
That's just the name Joshua.
Yeah.
That is just the Hebrew version of the name Joshua.
Yeah, Christ is an
through
epithet,
Greek and Latin.
That makes sense.
Christ is one. It's actually, now that I think about it, the Bible is odd in that regard. Abraham, Moses, David, they're all names, just proper names.
I mean,
or became proper names.
They usually, like, epithets become proper names. Their original meaning might be lost to history. We don't really know.
Well, yeah, but we do, especially Bible names, are very much still used.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you still use like word names like John and Jake. You don't really connect them to their original meaning of Jonathan.
No,
Jacob.
No, it's interesting how John and Jake don't, but Abraham and Noah do.
Yeah, because they're full names, and like Abe. If someone is called Abe, you don't really connect that to Abraham automatically.
Yeah, but also Old Testament names.
Yeah.
But then again, you don't think about it as much with the name David.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, there might be enough...
very few people are called Solomon these days.
Yeah, I mean, there might be enough time passed between the original sort of naming of David, and when the stories are recorded, that his name meaning might be lost to history. Who knows?
Yeah, but we also have like a name like John did first go through Latin and Greek and then Hebrew.
Yeah.
So it had a long journey, and you can tell this in which ways it developed, because you can really clearly tell that some languages kept it long. Dutch kept it very long.
Yeah.
French and English kept it short.
Yeah, and that's also where you get Celtic names, which are also extremely short.
But anyway, the book because
yeah.
Vin escapes from the priests.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah. She then goes to the kennel, which we talked about earlier, how kennel is still operating in the Luthadel, even when Luthadel is on the verge of collapse.
It's a big indicator of the city is stuffed with people, and they're under siege, but you don't yet get the sense of it, and it might genuinely be people thinking they add to the survivor might rescue them.
That also, Elend is sort of probably doing a good job at this point. Then, if
I mean, we do hear that everything. I mean, we do get a full thing on. Yeah, thanks, Kelsey.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, it is very true that this is entirely his fault.
Yeah, no, it is. And Jason in the previous also like, I'm partially to blame for this, which again is true.
Yeah, because again, I don't know if we talked about it in the last book or not, but yeah, they didn't really think afterwards of what happens afterwards. Like they relied too much on the momentum being carried forward from the revolution, but sometimes it's
the problem. The problem is that they don't have quick means of communication. Even during the French Revolution, there were already relatively quick means of communication.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And they don't have that here. On top of that, the nobility in the outer regions is just strong, whereas the French nobility was literally centralized in Paris and Versailles.
Yeah, it has the more decentralized your region is, the less communication resources you have, the more it'll fracture upon such drastic changes, which makes sense.
It's more collapse of the Western Roman Empire.
Yeah.
Than revolution.
Yeah, that makes sense. Then she goes to the kennel, and the kennel master tries to sell her a cute dog, but Vin asks for
first an adorable puppy, which I enjoyed.
Yeah. She asks for a wolfhound, so the kennel master goes inside and brings out sort of a tiny wolfhound, and Vin gets annoyed, so she just barges inside.
It's like, okay, first it's the puppy, then it's the runt of the wolfhound litter, and then she goes for the strongest dog she can find.
Yeah, and Kennel Master is sweating at this point. How is this young? He clearly doesn't know who Vin is, because he doesn't realize what she can do. And the moment she sort of knocks out the dog, he shocked.
Yeah, but also what I like is Vin still apologizes when she kills.
Yeah.
However, there is one thing in this chapter that I noticed is at one point the dog is called a carcass, but the dog is still unconscious.
Yeah, probably.
That seems like an editing mistake.
Probably, yeah, that makes sense.
But thing is, I suspected the moment she knocked the dog out. Well, you are shit out of luck, sir.
Yeah, and she takes the dog to her room where Ursus is sitting, waiting for his new body. But Vin presents him a dog, and he is. Yeah,
we also know like his body is held together in a completely unnatural way.
Yeah,
he's not helping his case of being a person.
Oh yeah, pretty much. But yeah, Ursus refuses to take dog's body for himself, and Vin says that she's not going to allow the Kandra to eat a human, even if she kills one.
Which I get, and it's just a thing of Kelsey just did not think of how this would work. He just hadn't thought about what impact it would have on Vin, his pseudo daughter.
Yeah. Also, like Kelsey probably knew about Kandras his whole life, or at least majority of his life,
for a very long time, because he did grow up within the nobility.
Yeah, so he had time to sort of take in that what Kandra are and
Yeah,
what they do.
and it took way too long to explain to Vin what it actually was.
Yeah, and Vin still doesn't really see Kandra to like. Well, she sees them as with disdain, like especially with this Kandra, what he did, at least to her, but she mentions later on, taking on Kelsey's appearance. She doesn't want him to take another body, which makes sense for Vin. But also if you're a Kandra and you've just made to be that way, it's not really your fault. So yeah. Anyway, uh, Usher says that Vin will have to force him to take it on the
Via the
basis of
contract.
yeah, and Vin does. Vin commands him to eat the dog and make hair, make his fur, which is interesting.
Yeah, and then we get some something I was not expecting. I was not expecting us to find out what exactly the metal was that neutralizes.
Yeah, which is
but
interesting.
Aluminium. I refuse to call it aluminum.
No,
that's
wrong. I have
it's
written
aluminium.
it in aluminium. I have written it as aluminium. I don't care what
it doesn't help
says.
that it doesn't help that the like because I use Times New Roman to read this in, and because it's cursive like style in the letter. It's very hard to read M and N in that font.
Yeah, that makes sense. Anyway,
but it's aluminium.
It's aluminium,
which obviously which explains a lot why nobody really knew about it, because it took a long time for us to develop means to mass produce aluminium.
Yeah, and that's
however, it is interesting to know that they made diningware out of aluminium.
Yeah, I have no idea how
show-offs. That will have been a rich people show-off thing.
Probably. Like, even in our world, we do silver and gold, so makes sense that they probably use aluminium. Anyway, her metallurgist, which she has a new allomantic metallurgist now.
Well, she has one. This is the first.
Yeah, this is the first. Anyway, has sent her an aluminium alloy, duralumin,
which, by the way, is a real
yeah
alloy.
Yeah, I looked that up as well.
Yeah, I looked it up and was very careful because I was afraid it was a pure invention by this book, and I would have to be very careful regarding spoilers.
Yeah. Apparently,
but yeah, no.
Yeah. Apparently,
it's just yeah. So you can also call it duraluminum, duraluminium, duralum, duralium, and dural.
Sure. The book calls it duralumin, so I'm gonna go with that.
I'm gonna call it dural because it's easier.
Yeah, fair. Apparently, Vin and Tyrion, the metallurgist, had been tinkering with aluminium alloys.
And we'll admit, the name Tyrion did not bring up the image of what you might think of. Oh, a metalsmith? No, I was thinking Tyrion Darrington from Critical Role.
Same.
Especially because I only hear the name at first.
He is an artificer, so there's that.
yes, but still. I was thinking of Tyrion Gary Darrington.
By the way, the Tyrion is being portrayed by Wayne Brady in the.
Yes, and I think I know why. By the way, because in this part, by the way, but it must have been because Sam was like considering this is the season they will have recorded when Sam had his health issues.
Yeah,
this will be why.
Probably, yeah. Also, I think they might want to make Tyrion distinct enough from.
Yeah, obviously, but it's also just a good way of doing it because I don't think we saw anything from Scanlan, so.
Which makes sense. Probably appeared near the end. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So they have been working on with aluminium alloys, and none of them have worked until this one.
Yes.
So
interesting to note that.
Yeah. She again chastises Arthur for not telling her that the package is here, which
yes, and hold the relationship between these two.
This is going way too smooth.
I mean, the basic thing is, at this point, there are two options for Arthur. Either he will be the first Kandra to break a contract, or he will sacrifice himself for Vin at some point.
Probably.
Those are really the only two realistic options right now, so I'm fully expecting this book to throw a curveball.
Yeah, second one seems more likely to make Vin appreciate what a Kandra is.
Yeah, no, that is my feeling. Honestly, at this point, I'm expecting this book to end in a Darkest Hour situation.
That would make sort of sense, yeah.
Because it's the middle book. And I'm fully expecting it to be if Ellen is alive at the end of the book, it's Ellen and Vin escaping the city or something.
Probably. The city
Like
might
that's
fall back into
basically where I'm going with this, because everything we see, but I don't think Luthadel can hold.
Yeah, anyway. She goes to find Ellen and show him the metal and so on. And she finds Toxin.
Toxin!
Yeah, he's back.
Yay!
He was apparently in terrace for some reason, and
yeah, I was like, okay, well, when they said like, oh, he just slipped in before the army arrived, like, oh, he must have been in the outlying areas getting resources. No, he was in terrace.
So he probably left just
Why
after the revolution.
Was he in terrace?
Yeah, he probably left just after the revolution and came back because it takes a long time to get.
Well, yeah, but he would. No, it's clear he did run them in like the government for a while. It's very clear that Toxin is a chancellor type.
That would make
especially
sense.
with him more in the British style chancellor than the German style chancellor, because he's clearly dealing with the finances.
That makes sense. I mean, he's also the most well equipped to deal with finances than anyone else there, so it makes sense. Ellen and Toxin sort of are working and talking about government, and Finn notices the tension between them, doesn't really say anything.
Yeah, they don't like each other, which I can't blame Toxin all that much.
No.
Like, and Ellen even says like it's logical with what he experienced in life.
Yeah, and while they are working, Vin sort of takes in the view of the room, which is full of books and ledgers. And
but also, I love this whole thing of like they are being very cute in this chapter.
Yeah, pretty much. That's it. The entirety of the second part of this chapter. Anyway, as their meeting ends, Toxin sort of leaves, and Vin asks Ellen to go easy with Toxin and give him a chance. And Ellen doesn't really say anything other than the fact that Toxin doesn't really like him. So Vin tells Ellen about Ursur and the dog.
No. I want to point out that Ellen's segue is crap.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, yeah, yes, your the shirt is nice, and that's a new perfume you're wearing, and I can just hear is it a new perfume? Because the last time we saw him, he was very annoyed because Vin got annoyed at him when he didn't notice.
Yeah.
It's very on point, and no, it's just the dog because Vin hasn't had a bath yet.
Yeah, she talks about the Ursur and the dog and how.
And what I like is that Ellen is just like, oh, that's a brilliant idea, until he realizes, hey, hang on a second.
Yeah.
Also, must not like that.
But also Ellen's joke of that Vin should try wearing a dog-scented perfume and how her station might make others imitate her, again reiterates the fact that Vin is a noblewoman. Because Ellen outright says that you being of such high status now in the society will make others imitate you, which makes sense. But Vin cannot really accept that fact that she's a noblewoman. Anyway, he then asks Vin to take Ursur with her on nightly raids, and
which he's concerned, which makes a lot of sense, because unfortunately Vin learned a lot of things from Kelsey, one of them being his recklessness.
Yeah, and Vin doesn't want to, but Ellen sort of convinces her, and Vin says that who will protect Ellen. So I mean, yeah, it's at this point it's sort of like yes, Vin is a Mistborn, so she'll get into more trouble. But Ellen is the king of the city at this point, sort of. So he's technically a bigger target than Vin. Which, yeah, I mean, I understand both of them. That
then we get the whole thing of like Ellen just pointing out, you say you bring him with you, but you keep trying to lose him.
Yeah, pretty much.
And it's like, this is clearly a conversation they've had many times.
Yeah, I mean, she does say that also doesn't really like her, and that while he won't break his contract, he will uphold it grudgingly, which is a yeah, fair.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
Oh, it's a very grudging thing of yes, mistress.
yeah. I mean, Ellen does make make a remark that Vin is being irrational with Orser, and Vin says the same about Ellen being irrational with
Mm-hmm.
Toxin. So, I mean, they are at an impasse. This,
But that's what I noted immediately too. It's like, Ellen,
yeah,
you and
pretty much.
Doxon by any chance?
Mhm.
Um,
But
but
yeah,
I do like, what I do like to point out is that we also got a thing of like, Osir is playing the role of Vince Stewart,
Mhm.
and Vin did make a good point of, if I keep replacing my Stewart with
Yeah.
random people, it doesn't look good. I want to point out to Vin that she keeps saying she's not a noblewoman, yet she has her own steward.
Yeah, I mean, she yeah,
She still has her own steward officially. It's like,
yeah.
Vin, you are so bad at pretending.
Hmm. Yeah. Anyway, anyway, Ellen then says that people expected Kelsier to be the leader, and instead they
Mm,
got him, which who is a noblewoman, and that's probably why also Doxon doesn't like him. And
mm-hmm,
Vin says that's not really true because she didn't want Kelsier to be the leader. She wanted Ellen to be the leader. Uh,
mm-hmm.
then
Well,
they,
yeah, she basically goes into a thing of
mhm.
like why he's better than Kelsey for this.
Yeah. And this is where I think both of our least favorite part of this chapter happens, which Vin
Yeah,
talking about how
because
why
we
she's
basically
good.
get a thing of why do we need to get into this idea of Vin possibly loving Kelsey as a romantic partner that
Hmm.
literally came out of nowhere.
Yeah, like if
We
you've read,
literally, and if it's coming from Ellen, that makes sense as a thing of doubt.
hmm
That makes some sense, but partially it's coming. The fact that the explanation comes from Vin, and it's just to think about it. Why had she chosen Ellen rather than Kelsey? That was a completely unnecessary line because we literally had the last book that be clearly having a father-daughter relationship,
yeah,
including in Kelsey's last letter to Vin.
yeah, like yeah, he outright mentions in the last letter that Vin would have been the perfect daughter for him and Mare, which
We clocked that when they had the conversation and he showed her the flower image.
yeah,
Like he mentions the perfect daughter combination for him and Mare, and it's Vin. It is literally Vin.
yeah.
And I'm
So
like,
if you've read the first book, that thought shouldn't really occur in your mind. And for Ellen, maybe, but also at this point they have been together for a year, more than a year.
and the question of the fact that it's like it's Vin's thoughts we're in,
Yeah,
and it's Vin who thinks why had she chosen Ellen. You didn't. You never had romantic feelings for Kelsey.
yeah, pretty much.
You freaking fell head over heels for Ellen the second you met him.
Yeah, pretty much. That's exactly what happened. Like even Ellen, because we know that Ellen started talking about Vin 5 minutes after he met.
Yeah, and it's like, come on.
But yeah, it was really unnecessary. But I think it was just reinforcing the thing that yeah, Kelsey and
Yeah, but it
Vin
was
don't.
completely unnecessary, and I freaking despise it.
Yeah, I do agree that it's
Like
probably not needed.
that line,
Mhm.
that single line, kind of threw me off this chapter a bit.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, then she goes on to talk about how Kelsier was reckless and cruel, and Ellen is not. Ellen is a good man, and
Mm.
how he is more suitable to being the king. Um, Ellen also says when Kelsier saved his life from
Yeah,
the
which I'm
Inquisitor.
just like, you never talked
Yeah,
about this in a year.
yeah, which is incredibly weird that he have not talked about it in a year. Uh, it's anyway, he might
It's
have
one
been
of those
busy.
things
That's
where
okay.
the only reason it makes sense for it to only now come up is because we need to have that talk now.
Yeah, yeah, but I think
But
I think
what I find interesting is like he doesn't mention what Kel said to him.
mhm,
That is the clearest indicator that Kelsey saved Ellen for Finn.
mhm,
It's that he pointed out she's not here. Go
yeah,
effectively,
yeah.
but he doesn't mention that bit.
No, and Vin has to sort of tell him that Kelsier knew that she loved Ellen. That's why he did what he did.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, I think Ellen should have figured it out, but I don't know why he didn't. Anyway,
To be fair, Ellen can be a bit of a dumbass.
Fair. While they're talking about this, Ham enters.
Yeah, Ham and it's like, oh,
Yeah,
sorry, because Ellen is and Vin have crawled together. Vin is full on sitting on his lap.
Mhm.
They are full on making out half the time during this conversation.
Yeah. And Ham.
And I like the fact that this clearly has happened before.
Yeah.
The indication that it is not unusual for someone to come into Ellen's office to find Vin on his lap.
Yeah, I mean, they don't even shut the door.
It is very cute.
Yeah. But also, who's going to march into Ellen's room? It's probably either Ham, Doxson, or one of the other crew. No one else is going to do it. So, and they all know at this point that they're together. So.
Oh, they're all older. They're just like, ah, young love.
Yeah. Anyway, Ellen stops Ham from leaving, and Finn goes to talk
No,
about.
it's no. It's Vin who stops Ham from leaving.
Is it Finn? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, wait. Vin said. Because she remembers the package with the Dural.
Yeah, and she talks about the new alloy that she got from Tyrion, and she gives it to Ellen to inspect, as we learn what aluminium does, which is the metal that took away her power.
Yes, and because the next bit is basically just a thing of preparing for it, and it's just a bit more expansion on this whole development stuff. If aluminium neutralizes elementic powers,
yeah,
and the metals typically have the opposite effect of it, my idea is so it strengthens them then or something.
Yeah, but like Vin
or allows you to burn them for longer or something like that.
Yeah, but like Vin ingests the next part. Vin ingests it and then she burns it, and nothing really happens.
And nothing happens, and that's the thing. If it didn't have an effect, sorry, if it wasn't a valid alloy, she would have gotten ill immediately.
Yeah.
Because she literally says, if I take it now and it doesn't work, then I'll be ill for a few days because the army cannot attack yet. Which is accurate. An army does need to prepare for a siege.
Yeah. Also, she does
attacking a city's walls immediately is a death sentence.
Yeah, and she does say that they don't really have ATM anymore, so she needs an edge very quickly, and probably this might give her an edge, but we don't really know what it does yet. Ham does say that it is the right alloy, as mentioned, and apparently Ellen does not know what an alloy is. Which, I mean, I know it's
no.
Now Vin mentions what exactly is an alloy. It's two metal being mixed with together, where she talks about steel being iron and carbon.
Where does
it's near the end.
He clearly knows.
No.
He clearly does know.
Look it up. Vin starts talking about what the percentage of metal, like combination between two metal, and
I know.
Ellen says he didn't really know how there were so many metals in the world.
No, that's the thing. He doesn't know how many there are. He knows about alloys, but also, did you know about derailment before this?
No, but I know how alloys work. If you change the percentages, alloys change. That's the bit that Ellen didn't know. Like, for example, you have different kinds of steel, which are all different percentages of iron and carbon, and sometimes other small.
But they've clearly discussed this already.
Anyway, it's an explanation for the reader's benefit, but yes, it was quite funny.
You're such a bastard.
Anyway, that's when Ham asks if Vin doesn't feel sick, so if she can spar with him, and Vin is up, but he also asks Ellen, and Ellen says he doesn't really want to get beat up by two people, so he'll just watch. And which is where the chapter sort of ends.
Yeah, I the whole thing of Ellen refusing to train. That's going to come back and bite him.
Yeah, like Vin mentions that he doesn't really know how to sword fight, and he is barely capable with the cane.
Yeah, the fact that he hasn't bothered learning in years, just like, okay, there's bookish, and then there's being a crap nobleman.
I mean, no wonder his father hates.
Yeah, it's like, come on, at least try.
Yeah, like even while young, you if you're nobility, you'll probably be forced to learn how to spar while you're young.
Oh, sorry. I want to correct you on the alloy thing.
Yeah, good.
It's okay. So what the set? It's basically like Tyrion came up with 40 different alloys he thought we could try once we had enough aluminium.
Yeah.
This was only the fifth. And it's 40. I wasn't aware that there were so many metals you could make an alloy from.
Yeah.
Vin then goes into the explanation of alloys, but it's not because for Allen, it's purely the thing of, well, you don't have to have two metals to make one. But Allen is specifically metals. So
yeah, alloys. So
carbon.
how alloys usually work is if you have it to make different alloys, you use different percentages. So
yeah, but also there's another thing of like an alloy can also be more than two metals.
Yeah. So that's exactly what Ellen says.
Steel is iron and carbon and a bunch of other things these days.
Yeah, stainless steel is different from
my brain is
steel.
Trying to tell me manganese is involved somehow.
I think so. At some point you will get one of those.
That is a random thing I have remembered from chemistry lessons from over a decade ago.
Yeah. Anyway, that's more or less. But yes, that's basically how the chapter ends with Ham and Vin going to spar.
Yeah. And then basically we get the final bit of the honestly, we basically get what seems to be the final bit of the intro to the book being written by our new epigraph author.
Yeah, Kwan. It starts with him sort of inscribing it in metal, which is quite interesting that he's doing that. And he says that while Elendi isn't evil, he is ruthless. And so he's going to come for Kwan sooner or later after he returns.
Yeah, which is an interesting one.
Yeah.
There is also the whole thing of the fact that it's the weird thing is that it's already called the Well of Ascension. That is a bit weird, I'd say.
I mean, it might be like one of those things that where you have these lakes that have spiritual power, and that's why this
maybe, but it feels a little odd, in my opinion.
Yeah, the fact that it's already called Well of Ascension is weird. Like, things probably happened even before this point. That's probably why it's called Well of Ascension.
Yeah, that was that. These were because of one chapter being really short, and basically we could skip a lot because a lot of it was repeating a bit.
Yeah.
Not the sense that it was outright repeating, but more the sense of not a lot happened.
Yeah.
The Osir thing could have been a page shorter.
Yeah. It's a lot of. I think it's just for readers' benefit. A lot of things were repeated, like how things work and stuff.
Unsurprising. The first few chapters of this book are always going to repeat a lot of things we learned in the previous book, purely to recap.
Yeah, makes sense. But yeah, that's how.
There's a difference. It's also not so much recap as anything. Well, you do need the context again for some of these things, because even by the end of the last book, you were probably going to start forgetting things.
Also, sometimes what happens, like for these books, probably what happened is they came after a year, and some people don't really reread the first book, so they don't want to spend again so much time into rereading the first book. So that's why you need recaps. So I don't really mind recaps a lot.
Which reminds me that I still need to reread The Night of the Seven Kingdoms.
Yeah, I'm gonna read them as well. We'll talk about it when it comes out.
Yeah, I need to find out where I left my copy. But
yeah,
I still have boxes of books to unpack. I have lived here for 5.5 months.
It's okay, slowly. But yeah, that's how the chapter ends. We'll see you next time.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye bye.